Hello guys and welcome back to Celebrity Big Brother, and today we're talking about the second live eviction. And my god, I actually really didn't know which way it was going to go. The Twitter polls, it was pretty even for the majority of the time. The polls were up. I think at one point Lauren was leading one of them of like who you were going to save. At one point Louis was leading. At one point Fam was leading. So it was a real confusing time. I actually didn't know who was going to leave, but I think they did make the right choice. So let's get straight into the video. Before we do start, I want to say thank you guys very much for the support on the channel. We are 11 subscribers away from getting to 700, which is absolutely crazy. You guys are absolutely smashing it. You guys are doing bits on the channel at the moment. I'm really happy. So make sure you are keeping that up, keeping that going, and make sure we continue this trend. You guys are fabulous. Let's keep being fabulous, shall we? So, I'm going to talk a little bit about Louis Walsh. Mr. Louis Walsh, he's got himself into some shit, and I'm really excited to talk about it because, it's hitting up online. He slagged off so many people in this episode. So many people. He was asked about Jedward, and he started to call them vile, and was just talking about how awful they are as human beings. And I was like, rah, that's crazy. Because do you know what's also really funny? Is Jedward were round Gemma Collins' house last night watching the show. And the amount of sort of Instagram stories and tweets that came out from them just from watching the show. Oh my goodness, it's all kicking off. It's all kicking off. Jedward is exposing Louis Walsh for the fraud that he is, and oh my god, it's such an incredible moment. It's genuinely so entertaining to watch unfold. Obviously not for them because they're having to dig up past traumas, but like apparently Louis Walsh didn't even send them flowers when their mum died. How crazy is that? Like as a manager, what? That's crazy. Speaking of people he's managed, he also said that Ronan Keating wasn't a great person. And it was giving the energy of, I'm bitter because you dropped me as a manager. Not because of anything you've actually done, but because you've dropped me as a manager. That's what I was getting the vibe from him, that he was a little bit bitter that he was no longer the manager. But he was like, oh yeah, when was his last hit? Exactly, you can't remember. And I was like, raw, this man is on one, genuinely on one. And then the last person that got his wrath was Andrew Lloyd Webber. He called him weird, so he's an odd man, and it was just like, oh, this is really weird. I mean, I'm not the biggest fan of Andrew Lloyd Webber. I think he's made some questionable choices, especially in the last couple of years, especially with the closing of Bad Cinderella or whatever it's called. But he's an industry juggernaut. He is probably one of the most recognizable names in the musical theatre industry. So I don't think you can like be slagging him off too much. Do you know what I mean? There was also like a little bit about Girls Aloud. He was basically like, oh yeah, I love Girls Aloud. That Nadine's a fantastic singer. And it was just giving vibes of like, but the others aren't. That's kind of what it felt like. It was like, oh yeah, Girls Aloud are great. Nadine's a great singer. She's a fantastic singer. End of conversation. It was really awkward. But I do just love Louis slagging people off in the house. I think it's so funny. Him and Sharon have taken no prisoners this series, and I think that's what's absolutely spectacular. It's really given us juicy gossip. So it's time to talk about the competition. Can't remember what it was called. Something like You're Gonna Be a Star or something like that. And they were essentially split into boys and girls groups. Marisha was in charge of the singing on the judging panel. Nikita was in charge of the choreography, and then there was obviously Sharon and Louis. Now, it was actually very interesting to watch because the girls had to sing Something Kinda Ooh by Girls Aloud, you know, something kinda ooh, I don't know the words for it, but it is a bit of a banger. So I was wondering, are they gonna absolutely butcher it? It was looking like that in rehearsals, but I gotta hand it to them. The Flavour Ladies, which is what they called themselves, actually did do a good job. Was it perfect? Far from it. Did they entertain me? Absolutely. Fern was giving me energy and like sexual passion. Ekin-Su was living her best life, popping booty, getting up on the judge's table. Miss Lauren did a split, and I was like, rah. But the standout performer had to be Zizi Mills. Zizi Mills was absolutely fantastic. She did a really, really good job of selling it. And I gotta say, it was a bloody good performance. I really, really do have to hand it to them. As for the boys did a good job. They did a good job with the song they were given. They were given a really different song, a different kind of vibe song. If it was like a One Direction song, I could have understand them going on the same vibes as the girls. It would have been a bit more fun. But like the girls had a really upbeat dancey number that they could like pop and lock to. Whereas the boys was very sort of like focused on the vocals and then like step click kind of vibe. It was Flying Without Wings by Westlife. Now, this is not a song that I know anything more than one line. Flying without wings. That's all I know. So if this song was given to me in the Big Brother house, I'd be like, what? Of all the boy band songs, you picked a Westlife song. I haven't heard from Westlife in years. You could have done Take That. You could have done the Backstreet Boys and I probably would have known that better. You could have done One Direction and I probably would have known the words. You could have done JLS. Why did it have to be Westlife? God, I think I know about one or like I know Westlife songs, but do I know the words? No. So when Coulson was like, I don't know the words to this section, fortunately Marisha was like, it's fine. I think Coulson was freaking himself out a little bit with this performance, but she was really good with him and she was like, right, learn this, learn this, learn this. When it came to the actual performance, Bradley has a voice on him. Was it perfect? No. But was it showing promise? And was it like, okay, he can actually sing, he just is struggling with this song because it's a hard song to sing. Like, I think I'd struggle with it, and I consider myself to be quite good at singing. I would have struggled with this song because it's so it's in such a weird pitch, like, and it goes all over the place. And then Levi, bless him, what a star. And then David, again, what a star. Not the best voice, but what a star. And then Coulson came in and started singing, and I was like, okay, again, not the best singer, but really good on the performance. And the fact that he actually delivered it and sort of he didn't crumble, that was the best bit. The boys actually, I think, did deserve to win purely because I think I was so blown away by how good their performance was compared to the girls, where I was like, oh yeah, that was quite good. I was like, wow, the boys actually did do quite well with what they were given, especially with such a difficult number. That's not a fun number to do. Something that kept cropping up throughout the episode, and it actually made me really, really uncomfortable, was Louis just shitting on Fern at every single possibility. Every single possible time. He was in the diary room, and they were asked, like, oh, who do you think is going to make it? And he was like, oh, not Fern. And Sharon was like, Louis, you can't say that. And he's just like, no, she's just not got anything about her. She's not interesting. She's not good. And he was just going off on one, and I was sat there like, Louis, okay. Louis, absolutely fantastic to watch. Absolutely fantastic to watch. He's so entertaining. He's so vile. But like, this is what we mean by Big Brother either makes or breaks your career. Sharon, it's made her career back. It's given her a second lease of life, or a fifth lease of life. I don't know how many leases of life she said at this point. But she's on her way back. And I think we're going to be seeing her a lot more on television in the coming years. Louis, I don't think we're going to hear from him again. Unless it's on another reality show. Unless he goes into the jungle or something. Because he has come out of this show looking so vile, so nasty. And honestly, I'd heard about how horrible he was, but I hadn't seen it with my own two eyes. And now I have. I'm like, rah. So yeah, he was just being really nasty to Fern. And then there was a point where they were all getting ready, and I gotta say, all the girls looked stunning when they were performing. And then Louis was like, oh, you girls look stunning. Even Fern looks great. And the girls were like, you can't say even Fern, because that makes it sound like you didn't think she was going to look good, but she actually does. That's what it sounds like. And he just kept saying it over and over again. I mean, she got it right. She was just like, whatever, fuck off, whatever. But like, it was such a nasty, vindictive comment. And I was like, there was absolutely no need for you to say any of that. What was the need? What was the... Oh, Louis. Oh, Louis. I really do hope he stays a bit longer because fucking A, he's so vile, but he makes the episode so much more interesting to watch. And now that Sharon's gone, I feel like we need him in the house. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. There was a really emotional conversation, I think, between Fern and Levi, where they were talking about sort of him growing up in the Caribbean, at the Caribbean, whatever. I watched too much American TV shows, you can tell. But he was talking about how he actually went to a detention center when he was 16 for burglarizing, for robbing houses essentially. And I was actually surprised to learn this. I thought that was very interesting and an interesting bit of his past. But what I found even more interesting was when he was like, oh yeah, my dad was actually brought down to the courthouse and they were like, right, we're not going to send him to prison, like, as long as you sort of say that you'll like sort of be, you'll punish him at home or something. I can't remember exactly what he said. And the dad was like, nah, just lock him up. And Levi said in that moment he never spoke to his father again, even to the point where he died. His father died a few years ago, I think he said, and he just never spoke to him again, which is really sad. But I think when someone close to you betrays you in that kind of way, it can be tough to get that back and want to get it back as well. But he was talking about his mum. He said his mum is such a wonderful, lovely person, and I do believe that. So yeah, on the whole, really interesting conversation from Levi. I find that he's actually the most interesting to get to know because he has all these stories, and I'm just like, wow, you are so sort of learned and interesting, and I find that really interesting to watch. There is something weird going on with Ekin-Su. I don't know whether it's just the show is showing us her weird moments, but there were like 3 moments in this episode where it really sort of, it started making me go, a little bit odd. The first one was when Fern made a joke about OnlyFans to Ekin-Su, and Ekin-Su was like, I don't do that, and was like taking it a little bit too seriously. She was like, I don't even have any bikini shots on my Instagram. She does. People have found it and posted it on Twitter, so yeah, probably wouldn't have said that if I wasn't like 100% certain. She's also done a topless shoot with Davide back in the day. So like, I gotta say, it's not on her side when she's taking this moral high ground when it comes to OnlyFans. Like, is she flashing her minge? No. But it's sort of, you can't take the moral high ground on that when, and then be like, oh, I don't even put bikini shots on my Instagram, when you kind of have. Yeah. But the second one was when she was talking to Sharon, and she was like, when you leave, who am I going to talk to? And I was like, have you not been talking to any other fucker in this house? You've only been talking to Sharon and Louis and Lauren. That's it. That's your only support network in here. And Sharon was like, hang out with the boys. Like, they're really lovely people. And Ekin-Su was then talking about how she doesn't feel like she can connect with girls because she always feels like they view her as competition, or they're jealous of her or whatever. I can understand it. Because like, for completely different reasons, I've struggled to get on with guys because I just have different interests, and my interests normally align with what girls are interested in. So it was always a struggle making male friends when I was younger. When I got to university, it was easy, but when I was younger, it was harder. But I can understand where she's coming from, but not really with the whole looks thing. I think she just feels like she can't connect to girls as well as guys. but the way she said it was just a little bit conceited and a little bit, yeah, a bit dodgy. But the last thing was that she started crying, like when saying like goodbye to Lauren. She was like, oh, if you go tomorrow, what am I going to do? And then she started crying. And then Lauren was like, don't start crying, because I'll start crying. It was a weird moment. Caught me off guard. Didn't know how to feel about it. But yeah. So the eviction is here, and I was really interested to see what would happen. I think it's telling that we had Fern, Louis, and Lauren up, and Lauren was the person that went home. People love Fern. People want to keep Louis in the house. So Lauren kind of felt like the spare part. Everyone was like, oh, but she brings the drama. I don't think she did bring the drama. I think there was drama caused by her, but it wasn't like juicy drama. It was just like, oh, you're just like, there's a point where drama becomes like, oh, that wasn't even that entertaining. Like the whole fight with her and Zizi was the one that was making it interesting to watch, because Lauren was just so sort of like about it the whole time. I don't know. It didn't pop off as much as I wanted it to. But I think now was her time to go. She's been up 2 weeks in a row. It's clear the house wanted her out. Yeah. But I have heard, before I go into sort of like them leaving, face-to-face nominations are happening today, I think, which means they're going to be shown tomorrow. So I'm very interested to see what that's like. Face-to-face nominations are always toxic, always really difficult to watch, and I'm just excited for the drama. A lot of people are like, oh, but it like removes the tension because like you know who's voting for who in the house, and I'm like, no, but that creates drama, because then you're like, oh, rah, you actually don't fuck with me. You're not my friend. You want me out of the house? Like, oh, okay, rah, okay, cool. And then that's what creates the drama. That's what happened last time, but obviously last time they were sent to a secret room straight away, so it didn't have the full effect of the drama. But yeah, on the whole, I'm excited for face-to-face nominations. But back to Lauren. I haven't actually watched her exit interview. I will watch it at some point. I haven't seen Sharon's either. Sharon also left as well, but I'll get onto her in a second. I am going to miss Lauren. I thought she was a fantastic housemate. I thought she was really, really entertaining, and she did do a fantastic job. Week 2, or the second eviction, she's been in the house for a whole week. I think that's enough time for us to really sort of gauge whether we want her in the house or not. It was fine. It is what it is. But moving on to Sharon. Sharon, I'm gutted to see her go. She lasted a whole week in there. I thought she was going to do a little bit longer, but she contracted to a week. Is a shame, but it is what it is. She was asked to pick who's had the most impact on her. She said Levi second. I think she also said Zizi as well. I might have been wrong. But she also said Nikita. And I was like, huh? I've literally never seen you interact with Nikita. Not even once. Maybe once or twice. But like, what? Oh, have we missed like huge storylines with Nikita? I don't know. But it was actually really sad to see Sharon go. I am going to miss her. I really enjoyed Sharon being in the house. Like I said earlier, I feel like this has really helped boost her career. It's got her back in the public light. People love her because she's like, to say what Zizi said, she's like, and that's exactly how I describe her. I just want to give her a hug. I'm so happy that she had such a successful time in the house, because I think the celebrity lodger thing is a great idea, because they can experience the house, they can join in, they can muck things up, and then they can just leave. They're not eligible to win, so they're not eligible to be nominated. That's fine. They're just there for the vibes. And I think that actually worked perfectly this year. So next year, Miriam Margolyes, you better be going into the house as a celebrity lodger, because I know you probably won't manage the full 3 weeks. Although I still think Celebrity Big Brother should be just as long as the main show. I'm sorry. Is that an unpopular opinion? I would watch 6 weeks of this. Hands down. 2.5 is not enough. Come on. Be serious. But anyway, moving back to the point. Yeah, I'm going to miss Sharon. Big love to her. Yeah. I only really have two iconic quotes and moments from the episode. The first one is Pooh Busters, which was Lauren and Bradley dressed in bikinis doing the toilet cleaning, which was hysterical. I found that really, really funny. Bradley is growing on me. If he won the series, I'd be happy. Yeah. I used to be like, I want Ekin-Su to win. Then I was like, oh, I want who did I say next? Then I want David to win, but now I want Bradley to win. I just think he's so sweet and lovely, and he really does deserve it. The second thing was David talking to Louis about how he'd fare on X Factor and sort of how he decided on people. And Louis was basically like, I didn't just have to think about how good a singer you were. I had to think about whether the public would like you, about whether you'd be entertaining, about whether you'd provide a good storyline. There was all kinds of different things I had to think about, not just whether you're a good singer, which makes sense looking back because there were so many people that were good singers that would just get cut at judges' houses that you'd be like, rah, why? But it was because they probably didn't have storylines in them. That's why Rylan got through. Is he the best singer? Like Louis said, no. But he was entertaining and he was a great, great act to have on the show. And he's had a massive career off the back of it. So clearly they made the right call keeping him on the show for as long as they did. David was then like, oh, I'd probably sing The Weather Girls. And Louis was like, no, that's too obvious. And then he was like, what about Cher Believe? And Louis was like, but you need a vocoder for that. And then David was like, do you believe in life after love? And it was really funny hearing him do a Cher impression. I think I do a pretty decent Cher impression. Oh, that's Cher. But I thought David actually did quite a good one as well, and it was quite a funny moment. So, yep, iconic moment indeed. But that's all we have time for today. Thank you guys very, very much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed. I will see you guys in the next episode, whenever that may be. But until then, make sure you're liking, make sure you're commenting, make sure you are subscribing, and most importantly, keep on ranting. See you later. Bye now.